I say hit it.
Welcome to the Grappling With Podcast. Dr. Chris Hardy and William Walker will take a deep dive into topics covering wellness and prevention, performance, recovery, and injury management. Our mission is to provide the latest science-based information to help you get the most out of your grappling journey, both on and off the mats, and help you overcome any challenges you may be grappling with. Dr. Hardy is a licensed physician and BJJ practitioner, but the contents of the podcast are meant for educational purposes only and should not be taken as medical advice. Please seek out personalized care from your own medical provider prior to implementing any medical treatment or intervention.
Bill is a licensed buffoon. He says things that are a little squirrely. Do not hold these things against his gym mates, his family, Chris Hardy, Harry Hardy, or anybody at his gym. Look into my eyes when I drink like that.
No, you shouldn't make direct eye contact drinking like that.
I'm suckling this water.
Yeah, you are. It's super creepy.
That is creepy.
Well, I was going to say congratulations on the gold medal you won this weekend. Good job at the competition. You and Professor Andrew both took gold. That was awesome.
We done did that business.
Yeah, it was good, man. I liked watching you guys.
You know what's funny? The loudest person I heard was Carrie.
That's true.
Really?
Yep. It was when I got double pants grips, and I was in like that quasi X guard, and I just kind of bumped him over right to his hips, and I could hear Carrie, up, get up, up, and it didn't. He came back up, but I will say, which I've been asked actually to do a little, because we have a video of my match.
Oh, I know.
Andrew's was only 45 seconds long. So
If that, was it even that long?
I think it was 40, but
Okay.
not a lot to break down in that one.
No. Jump, guard, climb, armbar.
Armbar. And he had a cool moment where it was like, if for old school people of MMA, it was like a Fedor versus Hongman Choi. Because the guy tried posturing once Andrew was in that armbar, and then he kind of like fell backwards, and Andrew's just hanging off of his arm like a rope off a cliff.
It was awesome.
And it had like a cool moment there. But mine went the distance. So there's, I guess, a lot to talk about in there. So I might do like a little breakdown.
Yeah, that'd be good.
It was an excellent match.
Yeah, it was a lot going on in there. Yeah. I was in a very deep choke twice.
I saw that.
So, yeah, everyone told me my face was...
I couldn't see because I was over by Andrew's mat. Was he using his own lapel?
So the first one, yes, he did like that Henzo choke that we like to do, which is the only reason I got out of it, because I knew it was coming. So I was able to defend that one. But even when you're defending that lapel choke,
It's rough, dude.
yeah, Tynan Dalpra choked out Murasaki. Not at this most recent Worlds, obviously, but the one before that. If you're wondering what choke. And then, but it's still miserable. And then when I defended it, then he transferred to more of like a Bravo.
Yeah, it looked like a Bravo
kind of style choke. And that's the one that was really tight. That's the one I was gurgling and like, and I had to like Hulk spaz to get out of.
Sometimes you got to spaz.
Sometimes,
dude.
Yeah.
Hail Mary that sucker. Well, it worked out well for you.
Yeah, it ended up being all right. So once I got my little monkey foot in there, I could create some space.
Yeah.
But that was important for me because I had the thought of like, I could just get out of this by just tapping.
Why don't you, that'd be good to post on our YouTube channel to like, if you narrate that'd be good.
Yeah, I can talk about that. And it was
because I think it's worth, that's a match worth narrating. I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah. And it's long, 6 minutes.
Yeah.
So
full 6. That's good.
A lot of stuff in there.
As a segue to that, while we were there, Professor Andrea told me that, remember how we talked about, the absolute women's world championship.
Gabrielle Pesagna and Anna Carolina Vieira.
Andrea said that that's not actually what she wanted me to talk about.
Seems right.
I know. She wanted to know what my thoughts were in general about when someone is unconscious, what is the right protocol on the mats. It's not much to it. Because she said that, she's heard people that, okay, you shouldn't shake their legs, or you should, or,
Should you throw a Dixie cup of water on their crotch to make it feel like they peed themselves?
Dude, I'm never letting you
Carrie's
ref.
nodding yes. Yes, you do this.
That's typically more in the gym rather than a tournament.
Yeah, that's what we do. Put some shaving cream on their face, so when they touch it, they're like, oh.
It's an old Gene LaBelle thing that he would do to people.
Oh, Judo Gene.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. What an animal that guy was.
He would throw his he'd have a little cup and then choke him out and then.
That's actually funny.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
So there's not much to it. Basically, if you think about what happens, so in medical terminology, it's called syncope, passing out, basically.
Okay.
There's a lot of medical reasons why people do that normally. We know why it happens on the mats. Right. You get your blood occluded to the brain and you go out. But in general, you get decreased perfusion of blood to the brain. That's why you go out, regardless of the cause. In this case, we're directly, stopping it. When they're unconscious, you don't need to move them around a bit. What I like, you always see people pick up their legs and start shaking them. Yeah. I don't think that's necessary. All you need to do is you can kneel next to them, almost like a combat base, with your down knee by their torso, and your up knee just shelf their calves. So their legs are at a 90 degrees. All you're trying to do is create some elevation for gravity to kind of assist perfusion, just to help it perfuse the brain a little quicker, as opposed to trying to still go against gravity on the legs.
So you're just elevating their legs.
That's all you're doing. And it doesn't have to be anything crazy. And then, I don't like shaking people. As they're coming to, their legs are getting choked.
What if you grab them by the ankles and then you open, spread eagle them, close them? Is that helping? Those things at a fireplace, how you can go, is that doing the same with the blood?
No, but it sounds like a sexual predator.
Excuse you.
I'm just saying. It's very unnecessary and creepy.
Okay.
So no, you don't need to do that. No, not you're talking about a bellows, the bellows.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
A what? Scissoring.
Damn it. So Carrie's in the room.
If I scissor
no scissoring.
If I scissor someone while they're out cold, are they gonna come to faster?
I don't know, but I can guarantee you'll probably be arrested. So,
okay. Wait, what's scissoring?
Let's not, Olivia. Yeah, look that one up. I'm not
Why would you say that, Bill? I think I know.
The physician in the room said it.
Which one?
That's up to you to decide.
Sure.
They can't hear her, so
I know. So no. Anything that Bill says, do not do. In general, it's a good rule of thumb.
Oddly, I think I brought this up last time because we have talked about this before, is a lot of people will elevate the person's torso, sit them up.
That's the opposite thing you want to do.
And then I saw a dude, he grabbed him in he put his hands down his pants and was grabbing his crotch.
No, you're lying.
100%.
You're lying.
I guarantee someone in the YouTube comments will say something. It was in Africa or something.
Are you watching some kind of B porno or something? What are you watching? I'm just wondering. That's weird.
Is that racist?
What? B? A B porno? Just like a B movie, a real bad one.
Okay. Okay. I didn't know you rated these things, but
it's a general knowledge, dude.
Is it?
I could be. Yeah.
B pornos.
You're not going to dig your way out of this, dude.
Either are you.
Yeah.
So anyways, I heard there was, or I've seen it, where they put their hand down their pants and they'll just jiggle them or something just to make them come to.
Dude, I'd punch you in the face.
Well, you're out cold. You can't.
Yeah, I think.
But when you come to, it gets a little weird.
Yeah, it was really weird.
No, I've seen them open up their chest and really rub the chest, that thing you talked about.
No, because you don't necessarily need to do that.
Okay. Because it's purely a blood.
Yeah, you just need to get blood back to the brain. See that? Try it 3 times real fast.
So opening the mouth, bird feeding, all that doesn't make a change.
No.
I've seen that too.
I don't know what he's watching, Olivia, but I think you should monitor what he's watching at night. Maybe put a little parental lock on some of this stuff. I don't know.
A filter.
Yeah.
Or something.
She has a parental lock on her Disney.
No, I removed that.
Okay. So I think that covers that. So all you need to do
Thanks,
is
Andrea.
that's all you need to do on that.
Okay. So we've neglected some questions on that have come in. Yeah. So we got a few stacked up.
Okay.
So today's a question day from listeners. I will not say names, but we do have a friend of the show.
Okay.
And they actually messaged me about this, and it's something that I was gonna just respond like privately, but I think this is a good topic that a lot of people run into.
Okay.
And it's not something you can really text. Like you want to just have free thought. And I think
Weird.
What?
You mean talking to people instead of
Easy.
texting?
Yes,
Freaking
better.
it's a lot better. Anyway.
So I'm just gonna read a little bit like what they're struggling with. So they typically are on keto. Like they just eat pretty diligently in like a keto fashion.
Okay,
like,
they're not measuring ketones in their urine. Okay.
They're just eating well, pretty much. They eat a lot of...
But what is keto? What does that mean? Are you sure they're eating keto?
No.
Okay.
I don't exactly know.
Because that term...
They live in another state.
Okay.
But I know they typically... They went through a good weight loss journey. They do jiu-jitsu.
So they're low carb?
Yeah.
Okay, you don't necessarily need to be keto. To
Right.
be low carb.
And
Gotcha.
I think that is like kind of just a key term that people...
Yeah, but let's educate here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they say they have not been keto since Thanksgiving.
Again, what does that mean?
I assume-
Falling off the rails?
I assume they're kind of just going willy-nilly, you know, a bit. They've gained 20 pounds.
Yeah.
They feel like a slug on the mats. And, you know, it could be a little bit of the blue belt vibes, you know. They're actually on the later half of blue belt here.
Okay.
And they're only training once a week, mainly because of their work schedule a little bit. But they're also having it where they come home at 4 and they just fall asleep and they don't even make it to class. I think we can see a little bit of a trend, right? Off the nutrition, that their regular schedule and regularity of healthier eating.
Right.
Then their schedule gets off. You start feeling lethargic. You get off your training schedule. Just momentum, negative momentum. So they also had it where they were rolling and a white belt caught them. White belt caught him in an ankle lock.
Okay.
It's okay.
It happens.
Yep. And his ego was bruised a little bit. And he admits it, which I think is great.
Okay.
And he just tells himself he hasn't been training consistently. And what do you expect? He's just not feeling the fire right now.
Kind of in a funk here.
Yeah, he's in a funk. You ever been in one of these?
Yep.
You ever been in this scenario?
Nope. But I've been in a funk before.
You've never gone off the rails and stopped eating well?
No. You can ask my wife.
She's shaking her head no. But you have been in a mental funk.
Yeah,
where it's
for
okay.
sure.
Okay.
For sure.
I, my friend, have done all of these.
Oh, same here.
I haven't gained the what?
Same here. Well, yeah.
Haven't gained the 20 pounds because that does take a prolonged funk.
Yep.
But have gained 10, right? You've gone up. Well, I know you've gone up in weight before.
Oh, yeah.
And then had to go back. I know I've gained.
It's just slip. You just, life happens.
Gained some weight and then had to go back. But
Yeah.
what do you tell someone like that?
So, first of all, I don't know. I would obviously like to sit down with someone and kind of interview them a little bit and make sure I got everything. But just from what I'm hearing, they lost weight on low carb. Okay, so that works for them.
And they felt great.
By the way, because that doesn't work for everyone.
Yeah.
Okay, but that tells me something right away.
Okay.
What it tells me, though, is that what they were doing is not sustainable. Because if a Thanksgiving can throw you completely off of it, what they were doing is not a sustainable way to live their life. And there's ways to do that. And I would think the first thing that comes to mind is, why don't you try a cyclic low carb type of approach?
Sorry, what?
Cyclic. It's what remember we had our buddy Nikita on? Exactly what he's doing. Shifting those carbs, cyclic, whatever you want. CY.
What does that word mean? You keep saying it.
It's a cycle.
It's a cycle.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
That's where my mind was going, but I wasn't sure.
Yeah, it's a cycle. So basically when I say that, there's a specific way we're doing our timing. We're not eliminating carbs.
So like a nutrient timing or...
Yeah, but
Okay.
cyclic low carb means you do low carb for a time, for a cycle, and then you come off of it and at a specific time, and then you go back on. So the way you would do this for him, which would probably be really sustainable, because then if you do go off the rails at like Thanksgiving or whatever, it's not a huge deal. It's not like all of a sudden my body hasn't seen carbs in 6 months.
Right.
And it's like, well, and you get crushed by them. So for him, go back on.
Which then inevitably leads to that lethargic feel.
Totally.
You feel like a fat turd.
Well, when you go low carb that long, you get what's called physiologic insulin resistance. Your body changes the way it processes sugar. Okay. And so then it will take time to kind of get back to the point where it can do it again. But while you're trying to do it, and that's what's the rough, when people start going keto the first time, and which is an extreme version of low carb, they get what's called the keto flu. They feel like shit, basically.
When they're like a month in or something?
Or not, just a couple weeks, the first couple weeks. It's terrible, and people feel awful because their body's like, dude, they're used to doing a certain thing metabolically, and they're not anymore. What I think for someone like him is during your non-training days, go back to like a low carb type of thing. Try to get the whole. Make sure he gets adequate protein, 1 gram per pound of body weight. It sounds like a lot, but that'll help a ton.
Okay.
Got to get the protein first. Don't, the fat is, of course, good sources of fat, macadamia nuts, olive oil, avocados, that kind of thing, right? And then fiber, like, fibrous vegetables, things like that. But after your training, go ahead and get a big whack of protein, like a steak, and then get your carb refeed. So you can time it. So let's say for me, let's use me as an example.
And he does prefer the Asian style foods.
That's fine.
So like
rice, white rice or
carb.
something.
Okay.
Yeah, perfect. We like to do the white rice thing too. It's great. So let's just use me as an example. Let's say I train 3 days a week. Okay. So for the most part on our non-training days, we try to do this is we try to do, some kind of meat. We alternate what vegetables we're doing. And then a source of fat. The fat can even be like the olive oil on your salad or whatever.
Yeah.
I like avocados. Macadamia nuts we've been using for a good fat source. But tonight we're training. Okay, this is Monday, so Carrie and I are training tonight. After training, we're going to have some kind of meat, and then we do some type of carb. That's when we do it.
Yeah.
Because have room now on our muscle to refill muscle glycogen, so our body is not, has somewhere for that glucose to go, and it ramps back up the metabolism, and we're not getting into this point. We're able to get a little bit more metabolically flexible with our fuel.
And you're staying away from the fat after training.
If you want to be really dogmatic with it,
but not a super imperative kind of thing.
No, but I mean, don't load up on a huge amount, because what you're trying to do is you're trying to push that glucose in from your starch into your muscle. There's going to be a pretty good insulin response with that, just by the carbohydrate.
Yeah.
And then typically you don't want to load a whole bunch of fat during that time when there's high amounts of insulin, because it will tend to store a little better. Okay. As opposed to your non-training days where you're more in a kind of a fat burning type of thing, so to speak. Nothing's 100%. You're always burning both, but relatively you'll be burning more fat. That's a lot more sustainable, and it has been for me for a long time.
Me too. Yeah.
And it works really well. And you can
still eat delicious foods.
You sure can. And if you want to go off the rails, go to an open mat or something, and then go wild afterwards.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Earn it.
Right.
Some people don't like that mentality. I get like a lot of people like to try to stay away from the earning it mentality or cheat days.
Well, but that's those type of people that are into the earning it. What I've seen typically is they'll start their calorie counters.
Yeah.
They're like, well, this cookie was 200 calories, and then they count the amount of calories they burned. They think they burned during the exercise, which is preposterous anyway.
Right.
But I'm talking about feed your activity.
Yeah.
If you're gonna do something like 2 hours of rolling, you want to replete that muscle glycogen for many reasons.
Yeah, it's guilt-free. Like that's
hit it.
Exactly. And you feel like especially if you were diligent with not having those cookies before during the daytime.
That's the time to do it.
It's like,
but get some protein with it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not optimal getting cookies, but whatever, if you're going to do it. But you can kind of live your life that way too. Where Carrie and I tend to get into trouble is when we have days where we didn't train. We had one this weekend where we were like, oh gosh, that freaking pizza thing, man, we got wrecked for like 36 hours, would you say?
Blasted.
It was not worth it.
Yeah.
And so then we learn our lesson for maybe a couple months and before we do that bullshit again.
Yeah.
But in general, we stay on that kind of cyclic kind of low carb thing where we'll do low carb, then we'll have a carb refeed after training. Yeah.
Curious, Chris, what is your definition of wrecked? Like what happens? Brain fog? Or?
Yep. Just feel like halfway tired,
coma.
feel a little nauseous, a little nauseous. Bloated is the worst part of it.
Yeah.
I feel like super bloated. And bloating is inflammation in the gut, by the way, you know.
It's just pure inflammation, basically.
Yep.
It was trapped gas. It's not?
It's probably a combination, but a lot of the bloating is is an inflammatory response. Yeah, for sure.
So,
but
that's good.
Yeah.
Now, that's going to help with energy.
That is going to be the first thing for him to do.
Yeah.
Then he'll feel like training again.
Right.
Right.
That 4:30 nap isn't going to feel probably as devastating too, or maybe he might not even need it.
Or if you do take a 20-minute nap, that's fine.
That's what I do if I can, and I can get that literally. It's 20 minutes. And
unless you're sick or injured, training should be non-negotiable. Right?
Yeah.
And so knowing that after training, then you're going to get to, you can have, steak and sweet potato fries or something like that. Right? So, I mean, but that's something that will sustain for years, not like I'm going on keto for freaking 4 months.
Yeah.
Then I hit Thanksgiving and I feel,
He's 40 also. So it's, it's right in there. I think what you just said is huge. And that's that this certain activity, it was jiu-jitsu, whether you like lifting weights, whether you're a runner, whatever. It's part of your lifestyle.
It's like brushing your teeth.
Yes. Like there has to be, now obviously things can come up, of course.
Right.
But you treat it at a high value to where just like time with your significant other. Now, if you're not making time where you guys have alone time where there's no bullshit like phones and TV or you're just spending some time and you should have that.
Just sit there and stare at each other.
Yes. Who blinks first has to make dinner. And that could be the walk, that could be just hanging out, going to a dinner.
What's prioritizing?
Yeah,
what's
go to
important.
lunch. It doesn't have to be a date night even. It's just you're spending some time with each other. Now, turn that into also working out or jiu-jitsu.
But that funk is the lack of that, because remember, we've talked about this many episodes about brain-derived neurotrophic factor, all those good things that are secreted after training that are excellent for the mood. I mean, huge. The norepinephrine, the dopamine, all that stuff. Being in that community of your friends.
This is what gets you out of the funk.
That's right.
Aurelius has a good T-shirt I wear it all the time. And it says, the cure for pain is in the pain.
Yeah.
And it's like the cure for the stuff is what you're neglecting, and you already know it.
Yeah.
Like the stuff that's hard to do, that is how you get out of it.
But starting back up is always the worst, whether any change, whether it's your nutrition, whether it's your training schedule, the first week is a grind.
Yeah.
And then you get back
negative momentum. I always talk about momentum, right?
It's very true.
Positive is it feels so good. Oh, things are rolling. And then you hit that negative momentum.
Hopefully he listens to this and, just get your nutrition back on.
Yeah.
And use your nutritional plan as a template for your training. In other words, you're like, okay, I have this built into my nutritional plan, so I bet I need to go train so I can get this carb refeed.
Something else that could help if it's possible, is I know Olivia was dealing with a little bit of a funk with training. And something that helped is she started going to, now she doesn't like training in the daytime. Like as an earlier, it's harder for her or whatever. Or at least it has been. She really gave it a legit effort. And she's been coming to the day class twice a week, right? Now, I think and it helped get out of that funk. Now, I don't think it's because I'm teaching. I don't think it's because...
It's definitely not because you're teaching. That's just probably in spite of you teaching.
Mind your P's and Q's.
I'm just saying, that's another time with you.
Offensive.
Okay.
My mom's going to write you an email, and you're going to have to respond.
No, she's probably going to give me like a thumbs up emoji.
She does that. I'm never mowing her lawn again. It's been like 5 years.
So, Olivia.
Yeah. But it was just a change of pace. Just a change of timing that it was just something different that I think sometimes that alone can also help to just get you out of maybe you have a little bit of funk of, you always went to this class, you trained with the same people every single time. You got to kind of get out of your comfort zone a little bit, change things up. Not that you stop going to your normal stuff, but if you just throw in a little bit of a curveball, it might help kind of loosen things up a little bit.
That can be true, but it also, while you're in the midst of doing change, a lot of change is a little rough too.
For sure. That's why I mean, doesn't have to be like Olivia still will do night classes, but it's just adding just a little bit different element. Like, let's say you do jiu-jitsu on certain days, then you do strength training on certain days. It's like, even if you just do you're doing a little bit different strength training protocol. I am. Like,
we just did it last night too.
Some different
it's rough
style of movements, some different, not machines, but,
we're gonna do an episode on that.
Different things that you're using to work out. So it's really like that kind of stuff can almost like start a fire in you a little bit. It's like, oh, it's you're doing something a little different, but still getting the same goal.
Yeah, that's very true. If you wanted to be even a little more abrupt with this, it sounds like you having some depressive symptoms with this. You could even do stuff like, if you don't have access to a cold plunge, even like that cold water immersion, cold shower, because that hits up norepinephrine, epinephrine, dopamine, all those, and they last, at least with cold immersion, for 4 to 6 hours afterwards.
Would you get the same effect out of that cryotherapy stuff?
I don't think it's been studied.
Seems different though.
It is. It seems a bit different, and I don't know.
People don't seem like they're struggling when they're in that. You know what I'm saying? Because it's so short, I think.
Yeah. It's still a hormesis type of thing, but I think there's something to that water, cold water, because air also doesn't have the same thermal conductivity. And you probably know that. 50-degree air, no problem, right? 50-degree water,
right?
It's a lot colder because it pulls the heat away so much better from you. That's why people die of hypothermia in the water.
But we can
at
walk
50
around
degrees.
in
We can walk in 50 degrees. Yeah, but there's something definitely about that I think he could also try in the mornings to kind of start his day with. It will definitely be a mood elevator.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think you said pretty much everything perfectly. If I can add anything, it's just getting on a schedule, getting some organization back, some structure.
And one day at a time.
Exactly. Literally one day at a time. That helps me when I feel like I need a break. And I say, you know what? I'm just going to stay on it. Not going to train as hard. I'm going to go through the motions. I'm still going to do my normal eating and all that. And then by the next day, I still maintain my schedule. I don't feel like I need that day off. It happens every time. And then I didn't work out as hard. That's fine. Sometimes you just need to go through the motions and just stay on track.
Well, I can definitely relate. I think I've probably shared with you for the last 2 months, I've had like a little low level, like almost like a performance funk and weird.
Yeah.
I think I'm coming out of it, but it's just, it happens, you know, who knows, maybe allostatic load,
right?
Who knows what's going on?
Yeah. There could be a nervous system thing going on.
It happens. But
especially if you have anything that happened like outside of, family, you lose a family member or something like that. That starts.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
For your brain can only handle so much.
And you might not even be connecting that to.
And many people don't.
Yeah. And I think that's something to consider, and why this stuff will actually even help overcome those
agreed
issues.
That's a good question.
Last thing with him, what do you think about the foot lock and the white belt catching him?
Oh man, so it happens all the time.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Yeah.
I mean, happy for your training partner.
Yeah. I told Olivia.
They put on a good foot lock.
Yeah.
I'm
Skydra caught me in an ankle lock. She's a blue belt, and I think she was a white belt at the time, but it was, it happens. It's just one of those things where
I think that's personally, if I get caught like that, I'm like, oh.
Yeah. And really,
Carrie got me in some bullshit foot lock that I was like, she goes, you shouldn't put your foot there.
Yeah. Idiot. Well, it's one of those things where it's like you're going to learn more from, like, if you don't dwell on like, oh, that was so dumb, and you just more dwell on like, okay, what'd they do?
And what did I do?
Yeah.
My foot was out of position or something.
When they fell back on that ankle lock, did you come up and put all your weight on that foot? Mm-hmm. Probably not.
Yeah. Gosh.
Don't think too much into it.
What I think is happening is that's being magnified by everything else.
I think so, yeah. Totally. Because you're already beating yourself up.
Yeah. That's all. That's just like the little.
And then the person that hasn't ever taps you.
Yeah.
And you're like,
yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. No, I get it though. But yeah,
it piles it on a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Before I get into some of these other questions. So as you mentioned, I had a tournament, and for gi, it was 181 middleweight.
Yep.
And that you weigh in with the gi right before you go into the mats. And then no gi, I decided to do 175. Mm-hmm. And you weigh in with your rash guard and shorts right before you go on the mats. So I was doing our normal protocol, and I ran into some issues. And I think this was really good. Nikita did the protocol as well, and it worked fantastic.
For the weight loss?
Yes.
Yep.
Short-term weight loss.
Yep.
Remember this. When we preface this, because I had someone ask me.
Should call it weight cutting.
Yes.
Yeah.
Last week, someone was like, saw what I was eating, and they were like, someone like you eats that because they see I'm in shape. I'm like, well, there's a reason. And then I of course said, I'm just cutting a little bit of weight. And they're like, you cut weight with that?
It's counterintuitive.
It was white bread, peanut butter, and this was the first day I started.
Yeah.
So, and I had slices of banana on it.
Yeah.
So that was, I think, Tuesday or something like that. So yes, short term weight cut. Now I was doing great. Friday morning, I wake up 175 on the dot. I think I text you and let you know, because that's great. Things are progressing fantastic. The goal was to wake up in the 74s, hopefully mid 74s, if not low, would be great on Saturday morning, because my call time was 9 a.m. So that would make it so I could have my coffee. I could have a little bit of fruit and be good for the day. I would sweat in the gi, get that workout, and then pace myself perfectly for my 2 o'clock no gi time. Well, now there's a couple caveats here, because I misjudged my testosterone injections, and I realized 2 weeks prior that I not quite 2 weeks, but I had about a tenth of a normal injection or dosage that I would take left. I thought I had a full dose and a half. So I had very little. I only had, let's call it half.
Your doctor's scowling at you from across the room.
My doctor is in the room, and I cannot look to my left. And I realized that, and I'm like, oh geez, I need to call get a refill. Well, Olivia tells me, it's probably not gonna come in time, you big idiot, which is probably true. And I still probably should have. I still should have called, and I didn't. And so I was like, okay, I need to make a decision, and I need to take my injection a couple days before what I had left, which is about half a normal dose. So I go, I want to say like 10 days without. And at this point in training, I'm feeling it. I'm gassing pretty hard. And then so that Thursday and Friday before the tournament, I'm noticing my cardio is struggling big time. And it was like kind of shocking because I feel like I have pretty good cardio in grappling sense. So Thursday morning, I take that injection of the half dose. Once again, Friday, I wake up 175, feeling pretty good about it. I did. Now you're going to scowl at me, so I'm going to have to look at Carrie. I did have a small curly fry.
Not just like, what kind of sabotage are you doing, you dummy?
I justified it. I was like, well, it's basically processed. I don't think they put salt on curly fries.
Fuck yeah, they put salt on curly fries.
They do?
Yes.
I didn't think they did.
Oh my God, dude, it's loaded. Did you answer your own question?
Not yet.
Okay.
It's not done.
It did no salt on curly fries.
There's more.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh, Olivia totally called it too. She was like, you're going to wake up 5 pounds over.
Yep.
Oh. So then I trained. I got not hard training, but I got a good sweat in. And at that point, I was 176 after, because I cut my water intake about in half. I was 176 and a half at night. I'm like, okay, but I think I'm still doing okay. That's not bad. Still I'm not taking in any like element or anything.
Dude.
I was like, okay, I just processed stuff. So for dinner, I had a few slices of gluten-free bruschetta pizza.
Oh my God, dude. You know what we're going to do with you, Mr. Bill? This is what we're going to do. I want you to go find that box of pizza that you got it from.
Yeah.
And I want you to read the sodium content on that sucker.
Didn't you say it didn't have much?
No, I talked about fiber.
Oh.
No, it's got sodium up the wazoo. So processed is fine as long as it's not loaded with sodium.
There's so many people just disappointed in my face right now.
So
I wake up Saturday morning, raring to go.
I bet.
You know what I weighed?
Yeah, 177 probably.
177 pounds.
Yeah, how did that?
And I was like,
Yeah.
oh, jeez. This isn't good.
No more no-gi for Bill.
Well, I was thinking, I was like, okay, if I get a good sweat in the warm-up, I get a good sweat in during my matches and all that kind of stuff, maybe if I get close and I only have to burn a half pound, I can jog that off or something.
No.
I didn't realize fluid is so heavy.
Yeah.
Because I had a 16-ounce coffee,
Yeah.
which I Googled later. 16 ounces of coffee is 1 pound. Like 16 ounces of water is a pound.
what? That's right. You dummy.
I didn't realize that.
An ounce, right?
Yeah.
Well, water, the density of water is what?
What?
Exactly. So, however many ounces of water, that's how they came up with it in the first place.
Came up with what?
So an ounce of water weighs an ounce. It's not just a volume measurement. It's actually, this is a stupid English system we use instead of the metric.
Okay.
So where we use milliliters
Yeah.
in liters in metric, right? And we use grams and kilograms. They're two separate things.
Yeah.
In our system, we use ounces as both a volume and a weight measurement.
Okay.
So the density of water, that's how they figured out what a pound was. And as far as they used an ounce of water to be an ounce of weight.
Got it.
Yeah, because of the density of water.
16 ounces
is literally a pound. Yeah. Good job, man.
I just graduated.
No. It's just fun. No, it's fun. So what did you do wrong?
Well, so then I do my match. I had a real good sweat. I was sweating like crazy.
Yeah.
No, we'll come back to this, but I strip my gi off. I go no shirt, just in my skivvies because I'm as light. And I have to still wear shorts and all that, but I'm just like, let me see what I'm at in my skivvies. And I'm 177.1.
2 pounds over.
And I said, nope, not doing that.
Nope.
I just do not. I have no desire to be.
You'd have to sweat that 2 pounds off right there.
In the next 3 hours.
Nope.
And I just had no desire to do that.
This is a smart move.
So, I ate 6 scones immediately.
I was there. I was there.
I looked up the sodium content in the fries and the pizza. Do you want me to tell you?
Yeah, I would love to hear it.
Okay, so the medium curly fry.
From Jack in the Box.
Yeah, had 933 milligrams.
No!
You might as well have done an element, son.
Curly fry.
The curly fry.
Oh, jeez.
And then
Like that's going to be a difference because they're curly or not.
the pizza, for a fourth of the pizza.
How much did he eat though?
Half.
Okay, so multiply it by 2.
Yes.
I said a couple slices.
The sodium for half a pizza would have been 1,440 calories.
Yeah.
Or 1,440 milligrams.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
So that's what it was.
Yes.
Oh,
So you had like almost 2,400 milligrams of sodium.
fat bastard.
Good job.
So as I was talking to my friend about discipline,
Look, man.
It was because I was eating
What's
it. And he
funny
couldn't have
is
it, and he wanted
When
it.
I say process, so the salt thing is huge with that because you're going to retain that water with it.
yeah, because even
That's why we rehydrate with it.
I cut my water in half, and it still went up that much. And
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a lesson to y'all out there.
Yeah.
Processed food, to get rid of the fiber, but you can't. That's why the Wonder Bread, because it's such a
Right. There's no sodium in there.
well, probably
or maybe
negligible.
Right.
Yeah.
So there was one thing that I noticed different this time before Friday night. Was when I was going potty. I believe bowel movement is the
Deuce. Yep.
okay.
The medical term.
The doctoral term. I wasn't going much. I was going more last time I did this, and I wasn't sure what that was. When I would, it was very sparse.
You probably started early with the no fiber thing. If I had to guess, as far as days early.
So I did start Wednesday.
Yeah.
Wednesday is when I started. Maybe a little early. Maybe should have done Thursday, Friday.
But no, it's not should have. But that's probably why it was sparse.
Okay.
Fiber's bulking in stools, right?
Okay.
It bulks them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe better for full Thursday, full Friday.
Well, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's hard to say when.
I mean, I was pacing fine, so it actually could have been fine, but
It'd be fine anyway. You just happen to have. Did that bother you?
I just wasn't sure if that was part of, like if I was actually retaining stool or something like that.
No.
Okay.
No, likely not.
I was blaming the salt intake.
The whole idea of that, Wonder Bread type of thing is so you can absorb almost, try to absorb almost everything.
Right.
And not have a bunch of fiber that the large intestine has to.
Okay. Which we had a comment actually just yesterday that someone actually followed along with it that we don't know. They're just a listener, and they said they love the protocol. It helped them so much in their competition. They took gold, so congrats to Alex Tapia.
Oh, nice.
Holla back. Brought home that hardware, and he was need to be down to 208, and he got right under with the gi on, and his resting weight was at 202. So it actually worked out great for him.
Oh, perfect.
Maintained,
felt pretty good.
Yep, maintained energy and everything. He actually also did the hot bath with the salt and rubbing alcohol. He went down.
Oh, he went hardcore with the rubbing alcohol,
Yeah,
did he?
He went after, and that's probably why he dropped so much. I would assume he had a little overcut, which if he felt good, that's fine.
Sure.
But that's cool to see, and congrats to him for.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, it works pretty well.
Yeah.
As long as you come in at a reasonable, you're not trying to cut like a whole bunch. Right?
I think I only needed to cut 5 or 6.
Yeah, it's perfect.
In a short period of time. But, someone like Nikita, he didn't even have to do the Wonder Bread because he was starting from a further time out, and he was doing the nutrient timing. What did you call it? Cyclical.
It's like a cyclic low carb.
Yeah.
He basically got his body composition to where he wants it.
Yes.
Right. So he lost fat mass and stuff like that.
He's 195 today.
That's awesome.
It's horrible. I'm joking.
Oh no! What?
I was
How much was
it?
it?
That means he would have been gone.
How much was he?
20 pounds.
76.
Oh yeah. He's lower.
I was saying he got fat.
Oh.
Check out my Instagram if you want to see him with his shirt off. He had a couple abs almost peaking. He's really proud of that.
Good for him.
Yeah, he looks great.
He did look good on.
Yeah.
He had a good showing at the competition too. Hit a couple great sweeps.
Yeah. He's been working the Marigali kind of like deep lasso thingy, flip things, and he hit that 3 times.
The Professor Andrea.
Yep, exactly. That was funny. He did he lost the match, but he hit that sweep in it, and Professor Andrea went up to him, was like, "Great match. I know you lost, but you hit that sweep." And it was a beautiful sweep.
Well, it was. It was very nice.
Yeah. So moving on, got a question about the TRT.
Oh, good. I'm glad we have Carrie here.
Yes.
In the room.
So if she wants to jump in, she can totally do it. Or if she wants to ridicule someone. But I had a question come in, and I'm just going to read it. It says, "Hey guys, love the podcast. Thank you. I was listening to the episode about TRT, and you were talking about getting a 3-month supply of testosterone for $70. I believe I said that. Where does this happen? I'm 35, just started TRT last week, and he's paying $75 a week for testosterone and HCG. Maybe you can touch on that in a second. Trying to find out some different options as I go to be an ageless man."
Why is he on HCG?
What is HCG?
Human chorionic gonadotropin.
So they normally use it for preserving fertility.
Maybe can you jump on Olivia's mic? Just so we can kind of hear this explanation. Dr. Carrie Hardy, come on down.
We have a
and
special guest.
Tell us what HCG means.
Well, Chris already said it. So it's the human chorionic
Gonadotropin, right?
gonadotropin. It's what women produce when they are pregnant, right? That's how we determine they're pregnant. We measure their HCG levels and see how far they are along in their pregnancy. Doctors will prescribe HCG for guys to help maintain fertility for them. So if this, you said he's 35.
Yeah.
So if he's still hoping to have children, that may be why they added it in. That'll increase the cost a little bit. But there's a better way to do that, like short-term use of Clomid, so an oral prescription that he should be able to get filled through the regular pharmacy and covered by his insurance. But I use a compounding pharmacy for my injectables out of Arizona. It's Vertesis Compounding Pharmacy. They're excellent. They've been around for decades.
Yeah.
So some of these testosterone clinics, if he has to go in there to get testosterone every week.
Like when they're injecting him?
Yeah. They're injecting him, then he needs to nut up and learn how to inject himself. That'll save some money right there.
Is that a technical term?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's also appropriate to the context of the conversation.
Yeah.
Touche.
And they're just like, it doesn't have to be that expensive.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, he's paying $300 a month. That's
a lot.
I refilled mine today
Yeah.
for 3 months, $69 from
with syringes and
my
needles.
doctor also, who's a friend of ours, she also uses Vertesis.
Yeah. So the big thing is compounding pharmacies is quality ones, especially, because not all are created equal. But Vertesis is, who we like to use. Compounding pharmacies are going to be where you find that cheaper but still maintain quality.
Yeah.
And like Carrie said, if you're going in there and they're injecting you, that's where they're making all their money right there, is making you think that, we're going to inject it. And there's plenty of information out there.
Find yourself a good doc that will take care of you. Go in there, see them, get on the test. That way you can actually get the prescription. I don't know how they're getting this. Are they getting it through one of those video clinics or?
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't have all that info.
Yeah.
I'm sure he'll respond when he sees or hears.
Yeah, just give us a little more background on exactly, how you're getting this, and are you going into
It'd be really informational for people, because I have a feeling we've talked about it, I think, a while ago, where I had a friend that was paying, I think, similar, even double that, I think.
It's absurd.
And it was a cosmetic place that talks about rejuvenation and all this
It's
kind of
freaking
stuff.
unethical, man. I
Yeah.
mean, you're taking advantage of people.
Yeah.
I mean, Carrie with her patients, she'll show them how to inject if they don't know.
Yeah. She'll tell you to nut up.
And she will. And you can use tiny little needles. You can use like a tuberculin syringe. And by the way, we should go back and revisit that. You were talking about your experience earlier.
Yeah.
And, you and I talked about offline about what I'm doing is like almost microdosing every 3 days or so, just to kind of keep the levels better.
Because I currently do once a week.
Yeah.
Some people do, and I had done this and tried it. It's once every 2 weeks.
Yeah, I like that.
Which is the rise or the peak and then the dip.
The trough, we call it.
Yeah, in a 2 week cycle
Yeah.
it's just not. It's not good. You're doing this rather than this.
It doesn't
even feel.
It doesn't mimic your body's physiology as well either.
Yeah, and there was something about that, whether it's the 2 week injection or even the single, like I'm doing currently, with estrogen. You had
Aromatase.
Yeah, can you?
In that, when you get a huge, I'm looking at Carrie right now. When you get a huge bolus of testosterone, typically it will upregulate your aromatase. For some guys, yeah.
Some guys do just fine.
Yeah. Well, some people,
That's why we measure their estrogen levels too.
Yeah, she's saying when she sees someone, she measures more than just testosterone, measures their estrogen levels and know who you're dealing with. But for some people, the aromatase is the enzyme that converts testosterone to estrogen. Mm-hmm. And with some people, and I'm parroting Carrie because I'm not an expert in this, but a big dose of that you'll get a significant conversion to estrogen.
Yeah. So it's not that it's like everyone, but there's potential that you could have an unwanted increase in estrogen.
Well, you're not getting the testosterone you need, right? And so, I really have found a lot better, I feel much more even getting, every 2 to 3 days.
Yeah.
Just taking that same dose you would do in a week and just splitting it up.
Yeah.
And those little tuberculin needles are just super easy to use.
Yeah, which you're going not intermuscular when you do those, right?
Yeah, it's close. It's definitely subdermal. It's not intradermal.
Yeah. Currently, I go into the quad muscle.
Yeah, it looks brutal where you're injecting it.
Yeah, because my right quad is noticeably bigger.
I think that's the fibrous to some kind of inflammatory response from that big bolus, probably.
Yeah. So it's I'll be switching up because your injection site that you were talking about is different as well. Mm-hmm. So, and maybe you have more options if you're not going intermuscular as well.
Yeah, it's a small little needle.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Rather than my needle, I think right now is inch or so, 1.5 inches maybe.
It's a big boy.
Yeah. Yeah. So it gets up in there.
Yeah.
So that'll be cool if Ryan, if you can maybe give us a little bit more info. I'll message him and let him know as well. Then we have another one. So this fella asked a question quite a while ago. So Brian, we apologize for taking so long. It was Olivia's fault.
Excuse you.
It was my fault, actually, not Olivia's.
Thank you.
But we're just going to roll with it. I'm going to read it, see what we can make out of it. He says, my glucose levels went up before training. It was 86. Rolled 4 good rounds, came home, 15-minute drive, and my levels were at 100. Should I be mitigating this, or is this just a non-issue?
Okay, stop. Non-issue.
Okay.
You're mobilizing glucose from your exercise, from liver. Typically, it's usually liver glycogen just going to mobilize from the stress response of exercise.
It's just a normal.
It's a normal thing.
Everyone's going to have it.
Don't worry about it.
Okay. Don't even got to think about it.
Nope.
That's good. So he had another question about bulletproof coffee. Mm-hmm. Is that what I take, Liv?
No.
No. What do I do?
I mean, you have bought it, but.
What do I do? The 4 Sigmatic?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's completely different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do the Four Sigmatic with like lion's mane in there. And
Cool.
stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
But then we also add like more, just because I want to be smart, like you. So, anyways, he has a question about bulletproof coffee or bulletproof coffee fad and MCT oil. Thoughts on quote unquote clean diet with MCT oil as a supplement? Is it beneficial? Will it aid in metabolism? Love to hear my thoughts, not yours, but I'm going to pass it to you.
Are you sure you want to take it?
Nah, you can take it.
Okay.
I've talked a lot.
So MCT oil can be legit. Depends on what you're using it for.
What is MCT
medium
oil?
chain triglycerides. So fats are broken down into the length in general. The different fats are broken into categories depending on how long their carbon chain is. Okay. There's short chain. We've talked about those with like butyrate that your gut produces, right? Medium chain. One of the ones on the top end of medium chain is lauric acid, which you find in coconut oil. And then there's long chain, like palmitic acid and stearic acid. They're the like 16 and 18 carbon. And then there's the long chain omega-3s, EPA, DHA, things like that. It's just a chain length. Well, medium chain is pretty interesting. They are a lot of fats after they're emulsified by the gallbladder. They are transported through the lymphatics, which is a different. Whereas some of the medium chain are absorbed directly and can be utilized more directly for energy. Those medium chain triglycerides. They also, if you're on more of a ketogenic diet, that extra fat load with that rapid delivery can also bolster your ketones too. Your liver will make some more ketones out of it.
Okay.
Some people, especially, it was used quite a bit. There's that famous story. I forgot the doctor's name, but her husband has dementia, one of the neurodegenerative ones. I don't know if it's Alzheimer's or something else. Do you know, was it Alzheimer's? And she started feeding him coconut oil and had a drastic improvement in his cognition. And it was because he was, the coconut oil was producing ketones, which the brain will use. Because, most people with dementia, they have a metabolic problem in the brain with glucose processing. They called it, for a while, they called it type 3 diabetes, where you'd have like an insulin resistance problem in the brain, actually. And you'd get into the neurons, which typically need glucose to survive.
Yeah.
Most of the brain does, but they can use ketones as a secondary fuel. And that's a evolutionary thing that we've done, because when you don't have ready access to carbohydrate, your brain will preferentially use ketones. And there's a lot of benefit to cognition. You may have heard studies with children that have had seizures, epilepsy, and they get on a ketogenic diet. Ketones will actually put, with some of them, their epilepsy in remission. So it's really good for stabilizing and improving neuronal function and cognition in the brain. So there's different, it's like, you got to know, why is he doing it? What's the rationale behind it? But it's certainly a legit thing. I would just caution you the amount at once. You can have like a dumping syndrome if you use too much, where it will go through you like nobody's business. You can have a bad.
Little Montezuma's revenge.
Yes, sir.
Ooh.
But not a bacterial one.
So is that just
absorption? You've exceeded your ability to absorb it, and then it's going to go. Zoop,
so if he starts noticing that, like, he's having that
off
bathroom issues, then it's like, okay, let me.
No, MCTs are legit. I mean, they really are. They're you can definitely use them as an energy source. And like I said, especially if you're pre-diabetic, diabetic, you're already having that insulin resistance thing, it can help.
So if he's eating clean and stuff like that, it's a good supplement.
My question, it depends on why. Why are we doing it?
Okay. What?
I mean, you get for extra calories, maybe, for extra sources of, readily used calories.
Like, what would be a reason that you want, like, just for that?
I don't know. Well, a lot of people that are on ketogenic diets use it to pop their ketones up a little bit.
Okay.
I mean,
if you're not on a ketogenic, like strict ketogenic diet.
I mean, sure. I mean, you can use it as a fat source. It's not a problem at all to use it as a fat source. Okay. I mean, there's actually clinical uses for them.
Yeah.
So I was just wondering, the rationale behind it. If you're already eating well, I don't.
Do you think the bulletproof? Do you know about the bulletproof?
Yeah, Dave Asprey. That was his thing. His idea was, these people that are trying to stay in ketosis, they would, or more of a ketogenic diet, they would do like the butter coffee, or they would do, or then it became MCTs. It's just a source of fat with your coffee. So you're still, quote unquote, in ketosis.
So are you even going to get any benefit from that shit unless you're like being pretty dang strict?
Yeah, exactly.
So like,
right.
Yeah.
No, exactly. It's like you're it was like that question you had last week about the sodies. Or your Diet Coke will cancel out your
I'm waiting for the research to come out on that.
Your bulletproof coffee won't cancel out a shitty diet.
Right.
No.
And like even the benefits that you're going to get from the MCT oil in the bulletproof coffee, if you're not doing all this other stuff right, you buy a brand that you like the taste of or something like.
Yeah, for sure. And I don't know. It's just one of those things where like I can have my cake and eat it too. I'm gonna stay in ketosis and have this delicious coffee in the morning or something. Like, I don't know, man. All these hacks, quote unquote. I'm not a huge fan of all that. I'm just like, take care of the foundational stuff.
Right.
And then if you need something like some extra energy, if you're on or if you're doing like a time restricted eating and you want to kind of maintain some of the benefits of fasting, which, a little bit of MCT probably won't bump you out of that too much.
Does stevia knock you out of ketosis? Does monk fruit?
Monk fruit could. Yeah, stevia.
A large amount. Maybe.
Yeah. The thing is with stevia that we're not sure about is what it does at the brain level. Because you're tasting something sweet. Right? And there's a dopamine hit where, that's like, oh yeah, that's good. That's why we want more of that, because that's usually accompanied by a caloric intake, right? So we're hardwired for that. So what does that do long-term to your appetite regulation? I don't know, right? But it's a non-nutritive sweetener. In other words, there's nothing in it that is caloric, but it might be doing something to our dopamine signaling in our reward system in the brain. And I don't know. I haven't seen any long-term studies on that.
Interesting. But then monk fruit does have a caloric mechanism there. Yeah. Okay. So
people were big on the agave for a long time, but that's a big fructose load, I mean, just because it's from the source doesn't mean it's still not sugar. Yeah. I got in an argument with a dietitian one time about that. I'm like, are you kidding me? You're using agave?
Put them on blast.
I forgot who it was.
James Smith, you're a piece of shit.
This was long ago. I think it was just back in California. They're talking about, I'm like, it's sugar. Yeah. I don't care if it's from this.
Right. It's from a plant, though, bro.
It doesn't matter.
It's vegan.
So is high fructose corn syrup. I mean,
touche. Soybean oil.
Exactly.
Respect. I do need to bring up something.
Oh, here we go.
I was offended today. I was hurt.
Did you look in the mirror again?
You son of a bitch. I'm being vulnerable. And you're going to kick me while I'm down?
Go ahead. You do it to me all the time. So
no, I've never done it. So,
do we need to rewind some of the podcast?
No, I deleted them. So I was teaching class today. Very robust class.
Okay.
We even had a visitor black belt.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Trying to put on a good show for this young man. Mm-hmm. And I'm talking about a little bit of stand-up technique, some judo. Mm-hmm. And then we had a good wrestler, Carrie Ann, was in. And I wanted to show there's a setup to the sequence of a kouchi and then into a side seoinage. But then it sets up a nice little single leg. You can just snatch that leg and do a single leg. Okay, so a little wrestling move. So I had Carrie Ann kind of show like where she likes to put her head and the grips and all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. So part of a single leg is you got to pop them in the ribs with
Your nugget.
a little nugget, a little bean. And I try to, how I like to say is, you're going to put just the crown of your head right into the ribs, right? To make that leg light. So then when you can snatch it, it's the crown, the hairline, right in there. You look right into those ribs. You don't want your head to go down and get.
Did someone make a joke on your expense?
Well, there is. I don't know if he's Mexican. I don't know if he's Honduran. I don't know if he's East Indian, to be honest. He could be from the Orient, for all I know. But this son of a bitch, he straight-faced. I was ready. Okay, everyone ready? Any questions? No? Okay, 1, 2. And then he raises his hand. And he goes, seriously. Hey, so when you do your head position, okay, you're saying you look like right the crown, the hairline right there, right into the ribs, right? And you pop them forward. And I'm like, yeah. And he goes, so what do you do?
Was this young man in the Navy?
This piece of shit is in the Navy.
I know who you're talking about. Good on.
He's got the body of Jabba the Hutt.
Oh. It's not. No, it's the other one.
It's the other chief.
It's the other one. Yeah.
I knew
Somehow I knew it was him too.
You know, it stung.
Good on you. That was a good one.
Everyone laughed at his dumb joke, and it made me just, I had to take a moment and just feel the burn. And I just wanted to congratulate him on this insult.
Well, what did you do to him during rolling?
It wasn't pretty.
I figured it was.
Actually, immediately I go, well, Elias is going to, I just gave him credit. Son of a bitch. Elias, your first round's with the black belt visitor, Dave. He also just won got third at ADCC Open.
Good luck.
Yeah, have fun with that one. Don't be nice. So
yes, please feel free to smash.
I did give him some good knee on belly. Where
did you?
I had his collar in my left hand, my right knee's on his. I don't know if you want to call it a stomach, but it's like a waterbed, you know. And then I grabbed his knee, his pants, and I was literally folding him like a bow. Like,
you're such a jerk.
Just
such a jerk. And at the same time, you're like, "Hey, ask me how I do it again."
Oh, I told everyone to take a picture.
Oh no. All right.
So it was good. He's a good sport. It was a very good insult.
That was an excellent
because
insult.
everyone thought he had a real question.
His delivery, I'm sure, was perfect.
Impeccable. He
Yes.
kept a straight, stupid face the whole time.
You know, we learned shit talking as a profession in the Navy, though.
Yeah, it's true.
Just so you know.
That's true.
Yeah,
That's
is
true.
a definite. You know, if you cry early, you're not cut out for
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
I didn't cry till he left.
Okay.
Just put it on record.
Okay.
With that, if you guys got any good insults, let us know. But I think that's it.
Excellent.
Good, quick little guy.
Good questions.
Any other questions? We'll try to look at our Instagram messages more than once every 4 months. Otherwise, YouTube comments are good. grapplingwithpodcast@gmail.com.
See ya.
Later.